Charlie, we're ready to rock.
Last episode, I made you a promise. We had 11 people dead or missing between 2022 to 26. The President of the United States looked into a camera and said, "Pretty serious stuff. I hope it's random." The FBI opened a formal investigation. Congress sent letters. The machine moved.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
And at the very end, I gave you one more name. A 34-year-old scientist from Huntsville, Alabama, who had already left a message, written down, sent to a colleague a month before she died, that said, "If you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not." I told you her name was Amy Eskridge, and I told you next time, we're going inside.
Oh my God.
So here we are, May 2026, and I need you to know something before we begin. When we recorded that last episode, we were at 11. 11 was what shook the White House, opened the FBI investigation, made Congress clear their schedules. We are now already at 13, and Congress has said out loud, more names are coming. Today, it is all about Amy, and you'll understand the relevance, what she was actually building, what she found, and what she believed about the things people call aliens. And why her answer is either completely unhinged or the most important thing anyone has said out loud in a really long time. And by the end of this episode, I want you to understand why this is going to matter to you tremendously. Right now, today, in your actual life, because if even the quietest version of what Amy was chasing is true, it is going to change what you think about your energy bill, your flights, your entire picture of the future. So stick with me, because as weird as this is, you're gonna see the relevance of it all.
Smash the like button.
Okay, before Amy, before the burns on her hands and the classified papers and the recordings, before all of that, you need to understand what she was actually chasing. Because people keep saying anti-gravity like it's a word from a sci-fi movie. And I want to tell you what it actually means in plain English, so you can feel why it matters and why I'm actually tackling this today. Think about your phone sitting on your desk right now. Gravity is what's holding it there. Gravity is an invisible force, the planet pulling everything toward its center. You feel it every second of your life. You feel it when you pick up your shopping, when you climb stairs, when a plane burns thousands of liters of fuel just to fight it enough to stay airborne. Everything we build, everything we move, everything we power is fighting gravity. We burn oil and gas and coal and jet fuel, and we generate electricity, and we build enormous machines. And all of that, well, a huge chunk of it is just fighting the constant, relentless, non-negotiable pull of this planet trying to hold everything down. Now, what if you could work with gravity instead? Or what if you could switch it off? Just in a small area, just for a second, just enough to change the game. That is anti-gravity. It is not flying carpets. It's nothing magical. It's the question, is gravity actually as fixed and untouchable as we've always been told? Or is it, like electricity, like magnetism, like sound, something that can be generated, manipulated, redirected using the right materials and the right conditions? Here's why this is enormous. If you can neutralize gravity, even partially, here's what changes. Planes don't need nearly as much fuel. Space rockets don't need to be 90% propellant just to fight Earth's pull for the first few minutes. And buildings don't need to be over-engineered for structural load. Renewable energy becomes exponentially more efficient because you stop wasting so much of it fighting physics. Moving goods around the world stops costing what it costs, and the entire architecture of human civilization, which is basically just one long, expensive argument with gravity, changes completely. Heck, we'll stay young. This is not fake science talking. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, has a published, declassified document on anti-gravity aerospace applications. It is available. You can actually read it.
Google it!
It discusses in serious technical language the concepts of inertia reduction, gravity modification, and electromagnetic interaction with gravitational fields. The government didn't publish that because it's a joke. Real engineers with real credentials from teams that have included NASA and Blue Origin alumni have presented propellant-less drive research at major technology conferences as recently as April 2026. Legitimate peer-reviewed physics has identified effects, small, strange, not fully explained effects in high-voltage asymmetric systems that suggest the relationship between electromagnetism and gravity is not as settled as any physics textbook will tell you. So, come in, Amy Eskridge, who was trying to unlock this very thing. She was building hardware, running experiments, getting results she described as small, strange, and repeatable, and she needed NASA's permission to publish. As a private researcher in a city full of government aerospace programs, her work required government clearance before she could release it. She applied. She waited. She kept asking. And she was never approved.
Unusual practice takes you where most conversations never go. Hidden histories, counterintuitive truths, and cultural twists that flip your perspective. Deep ideas delivered short and sharp. Just minutes that feel like years of discovery. You'll learn what most people miss in a lifetime, giving you the kind of knowledge that sparks conversations, ignites debates, and makes people lean in closer. Concise, surprising, and impossible to ignore.
Amy Catherine Eskridge grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, Rocket City, home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, Redstone Arsenal, the facility that built the rockets that took humans to the moon, and a university, the University of Alabama in Huntsville, that has been quietly producing some of the most technically sophisticated aerospace researchers in the country for decades. Her father, Richard, was a NASA engineer who specialized in plasma physics and fusion propulsion. Amy graduated from UAH with a double major in chemistry and biology. She was enrolled in a materials science PhD program. She had hands-on experience in the kind of precision engineering that goes into guided missiles and medical implants. She understood electrical engineering, nanotechnology, genetics, and physics. She was not a crank. She was fully qualified. So, she and her father co-founded the Institute for Exotic Science. The stated mission on its official incorporation documents was to create, and I'm reading this directly, a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology. Not to discover it, guys. To disclose it. Like it already existed, like someone had already found it and it needed to come out. She said it herself in a recorded interview in 2020.
We discovered anti-gravity, and our lives went to shit and people started sabotaging us. It's harassment. It's threats. It's awful. If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you stick your neck out in private, they will bury you, they will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news. That's why the Institute exists.
At that point, she publicly announced she was ready to present her findings, but she needed NASA's approval first. So she applied, and she kept applying, and she told friends she had to publish soon, that the threats were escalating, and that it was only going to get worse until she did. But she never published. And here's the thing I want you to know about Amy and the city that she lived in, because before her, there was another woman. Same city, same question, same silence. Dr. Ning Lee, a physicist at the University of Alabama, internationally recognized in the 1990s for serious peer-reviewed research suggesting that superconducting materials, under specific conditions, could produce measurable gravitational effects. The U.S. Army funded her work. Then, in the early 2000s, her research was classified. Her company went quiet. She dropped out of public scientific life. And in 2014, she was struck by a car near her university campus and suffered permanent brain damage. She died in 2021 from Alzheimer's at 78. Amy Eskridge spent years picking up exactly where Ning Lee left off. Two women, same city, same question, same silence at the end. You cannot possibly tell me that's nothing.
Now me, I not only drink really, I really drink.
Now, this is the part that is going to sound insane. Yep, even more insane than what I just already told you. And I need you to trust me enough to stick with me on this. Amy didn't just believe in anti-gravity. She had a theory about where those crafts, the UAPs and UAFs, the triangle-shaped silence objects that pilots, radar operators, and civilians have been reporting for decades actually came from. Not aliens, but actually us from the future. In multiple recorded interviews, and these recordings have been verified, multiple sources, they're circulating widely now, Amy described two classified program designations she said she had come across, P-47 and P-52. Her words.
They are you, they are me. They're from here, from the future. P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years. And basically, there's a calamity, there's an apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of everything. And there's the ones that go underground and survive, and then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die.
Okay, I'm letting that land now. What she was saying is this. The craft governments have been cataloging, classifying, and hiding, they're not from another planet. Goddamn, man. They're made by humans, future humans, people who survived a catastrophe that we have not experienced yet, who found a way, using the exact same physics Amy was researching, gravity modification, inertia reduction, to travel backwards through time, to come back, not to invade or conquer us, but actually to warn us.
I know you're pissed, all right? But just listen to me for 5 seconds.
This idea, called the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis, or sometimes the time loop model, isn't Amy's alone. The same framing, those same designation codes appear in the testimony of multiple independent UAP witnesses who had no contact with each other or with Amy. Either this is one of the most consistent shared delusions in modern history, or someone, somewhere, classified a program with exactly those names, and it leaked. Now, I promised you honesty, so here it is. I've gone down that rabbit hole. I haven't slept for nights trying to figure this out. So you need to understand this, though. Amy's mental health deteriorated significantly in the 2 years before she died. Yeah, I can vouch for that, man. In just 3 days, I lost the plot. But I'm back, or I think I'm back. So, people who loved her described chronic pain, severe paranoia, broken sleep, withdrawal. A retired FBI agent who reviewed her case told Newsweek there is no doubt she took her own life. Even her own father, who built this work with her, says her death is not suspicious. People should realize that scientists die also. The most credible psychological explanation for the P-47 and P-52 claims is that Amy was a brilliant, isolated, increasingly unwell person who found a framework that made sense of everything terrifying her. And she ran with it. That's probably what it is. It's probably that. But, if we're wrong, If even a small part of this is real, I want you to think about what it means. It means the craft we've been seeing are propelled by technology built on the physics Amy was researching. Technology that works, technology that someone has had and hidden for decades. And the beings inside them are not coming to destroy us. They're coming because something terrible is about to happen to us. And they lived through it. They are the ones who survived. They came back because there was still time to change it. This is not a horror story. This is actually the most urgent gift anyone has ever tried to give us. And what are we doing about it? All right, so let's talk about what happened to Amy's hands. In the months before her death, Amy reached out to Frank Milburn, a former British intelligence officer and military paratrooper. She sent him photographs, her hands covered in raw, patterned burns. She told him there was a device, an RF K-band emitter powered by 5-car batteries inside an SUV parked outside her home. Someone was pointing directed energy at her through her window while she worked. Microwave energy, the kind that heats tissue from the inside without leaving a visible external source. A video surfaced last month, weeks after the missing scientist story went national, showing Amy in her home on camera, visibly distressed, pointing at her covered window with hands burnt, saying,
You can beam me and get a 3D image of what I'm typing. Because this computer doesn't have a Wi-Fi card, you can't hack it, but you can get a 3D image of me typing.
Milburn believed her. He brought his findings to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2023, a year after her death. His allegation? Amy was targeted with directed energy weapons by a private aerospace company because of what her research was exposing. Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri, the representative who has been most publicly aggressive about the entire missing scientist investigation, stated in April 26 that there is a significant evidence Amy Eskridge was targeted by a directed energy weapon using microwave energy. Now, here's the honest counter. Paranoid delusion exasperated by chronic pain and isolation is a real documented tragic condition. What Amy described, the surveillance, the invisible weapons, the burns, is consistent with certain psychological states that emerge under extreme sustained stress. A retired FBI agent looked at this case and said, no doubt. Her family said, no doubt. But here's also the honest truth. Havana syndrome is real. Over 1,000 documented cases. U.S. intelligence officers, diplomats, government personnel, identical symptoms, all of them, with unexplained sounds, burning sensations, cognitive damage, hearing loss. The CIA concluded in 2022 that at least some cases were caused by directed microwave weapons, a weapon that leaves no mark except the wound. What Amy described is symptom for symptom, indistinguishable from Havana syndrome. Look it up. On May 13th, 2022, 1 month before she died, she sent a message to a colleague.
If you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I overdosed, I most definitely did not. If anything looks like suicide or an accident, it wasn't. Treat it as suspicious.
On June 11th, Amy Eskridge was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Official ruling? Self-inflicted. No public investigative report has ever been released.
You often stop to ponder about how huge the universe is and how insignificant we really are.
Here is something that wasn't on anyone's radar when this story went national in April. 2 of the 13 names on this list are from the same city, Huntsville, Alabama. Joshua LeBlanc, in 2025, was 29 years old, NASA nuclear propulsion engineer. He was working on the engine designed to get human beings to Mars. On July 22nd, 2025, LeBlanc's family reported him missing before sunrise. He hadn't shown up for work. His phone was again at home. His wallet, his dog, his Tesla's own built-in Sentry Mode system tracked the car. It sat stationary at Huntsville International Airport for 4 hours. Then it drove west on rural backroads for 2 hours. Then it hit a guardrail and several trees and caught fire. His body was burnt beyond recognition. Congressman Burleson added him to the list on April 29, 2026, saying,
"A young scientist named Joshua, working on the nuclear propulsion technology we'd need to reach Mars, just turned up dead in a Tesla crash after his car drove 2 hours by itself on rural backroads. Body burnt beyond recognition. This is not normal."
And this is where Huntsville becomes a pattern that cannot be waved away with statistics. In 22, Amy was working on what propels crafts without conventional fuel. In 2025, Joshua was working on what propels craft to Mars. Same city, both dead. Neither case fully explained. Add to that, Dr. Ning Lee, the woman Amy picked up where she left off was hit by a car and brain damaged at the University of Alabama in Huntsville in 2014. She spent her last years unable to remember what she had discovered. 3 researchers, 3 unexplained ends, 1 city full of rockets, and so many secrets.
So your alien had a room at the Holiday Inn, Paramus.
All right, I want to step out of the story for a second and just talk directly to you because I've been doing this episode, and as I told you, I've been in that rabbit hole and I keep thinking about the same thing. Why does any of this actually matter to a regular person? Why should you care if some scientists died under murky circumstances? You're not a physicist. You're not clearing any government clearances. I mean, what does Amy Eskridge's anti-gravity research have to do with your life right now? And the truth, the answer is everything. Potentially everything. Energy is the most expensive thing in human civilization. The reason your food costs what it costs and your heating bill is what it is, why your flights are expensive and freight is expensive and manufacturing is expensive, it is because moving mass against gravity burns energy. Always and unavoidable. We are currently in the most desperate energy crisis in human history. It's not a temporary one. Climate change is driven almost entirely by the energy we burn fighting gravity, whether it's in transport, construction, food systems, and everything. We have renewable energy, but we can't store it efficiently enough. We have electrical vehicles, but the batteries are too heavy and expensive. We have dreams of Mars, but the rocket fuel required is almost comically enormous just to escape Earth's pull for 8 minutes. So if Amy was right, if there is a way to interact with gravity using engineered materials and electromagnetic frequencies, then that one discovery would do more for human civilization than the internet or the Industrial Revolution combined. We're not talking about a faster plane. We're talking about the end of the fossil fuel era. Overnight. Propulsion without fuel, manufacturing without structural limits, space travel at a fraction of the current cost, clean, virtually limitless energy derived from the same field that governs every atom in the universe. Do you understand the wars that the world is in? What this would do to our damn wars? If Amy's P47 and P52 theory has also any truth at all, even a tiny sliver, then the message from the future isn't that you're about to be invaded. The message is, we are about to experience a calamity, and the thing that could have prevented it was the physics we are sitting on and yet not releasing. Please think about that. This is by far more urgent than what we think it is. The beings she described are not coming to warn us about asteroids or solar flares. Well, at least that's what she believes. The catastrophe is actually in their timeline. The one that wiped out most of civilization. The one that sent the survivors underground for 47,000 years before they found their way back. It might be the one we are actively engineering right now. Hello, bunkers? Anyone? Climate collapse, resource wars, an energy system built on burning things that are totally running out. Again, resource wars. And the solution? Well, the technology that the future humans use to survive, to escape, or to come back is the same technology that people in Huntsville, Alabama keep dying before they can even publish. So I'm not telling you this is definitely true. I am telling you it is definitely worth asking why we don't already know what's in it. In the first week of May 2026, 13 people connected to America's most sensitive research, nuclear weapons, space propulsion, UAP investigation, advanced materials, and anti-gravity are dead or missing. The FBI investigation is ongoing. Congress has not received the briefings it demanded. The deadline they set has passed. No answers have been given publicly. The Department of Defense confirmed to Congress that there are no active national security investigations. And Congress responded by saying that answer leaves the committee to many unanswered questions. Here's the version of this story where everything is okay. Amy was a gifted, unwell woman who died a tragic death. Her anti-gravity work produced no reproducible results. The P-47, P-52 claims were delusion. The 13 scientists are an unlucky cluster of coincidences that a griefing internet connected into a conspiracy because humans are pattern matching machines and grief needs somewhere to go. That's probably the true version. But here's the other version. There is a technology that would end the energy crisis. It has been found and classified multiple times. The people who found it independently and tried to go public stopped being able to. And somewhere out there, something that looks like us.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Evolved, different, ancient, is flying craft that run on that exact technology, trying to get our attention because in their lifetime, we ran out of time before we figured it out. In that version, every dead scientist on that list is not a tragedy. They're a warning. And every day we don't demand answers from the FBI, from Congress, from the agencies that keep saying nothing to see here, is a day we are choosing not to listen. Amy chose to listen. She chose to look and to speak. I think the least we can do is ask why she cannot anymore. Thank you for listening to the Unusual Practice Podcast. And please remember, the list today is at 13. The FBI deadline passed without public answers, and the families are still waiting. This is Charlie serving the greater good by processing the terms and conditions of being born. Until next week, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Mom, somebody just followed me.
You can fool some of the people all of the time, and you can fool all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool Mom. Hand me your phone and go to your room.